Okay, so today I'm going to show you how to make a ProInert cylinder safe for transport. We're going to start off with the UVO or the cylinder actuator if that is fitted to it. We'll need to remove this unit from the cylinder, and we do that by removing this pin here. If it's stiff, we can use the reset multi-tool to push it off with gently and lever it out with as well. The pin comes out. Keep the U-pin safe if you need to reinstall the cylinder, and then extract the UVO unit from the cylinder itself. Once you have extracted the UVO from the cylinder, there is a small plug which goes into the cylinder like this. And by the way, if you ever have to extract one of these, the reset multi-tool center unscrews, and this actually allows you an easier way of pulling these plugs in and out. So we can insert it like this. Remember to put this back onto the multi-tool. Okay. And then we affix that with the pin which we kept from earlier. This pin is going to keep this plug secure. So we line up the holes. Sometimes it can be a little bit stiff to get in, but as long as these pins are protruding on this side, we're good to go. So we've secured this part. Now nothing can get inside there and activate the cylinder. We then remove the gauge. So you may need a gauge spanner which will fit over the top of there. You unscrew the gauge. If the cylinder has pressure in it, as you unscrew this gauge, it's going to make a loud pop. Don't let that be too disconcerting. Just expect it to happen. This is the gauge port plug, which is a brass plug with a slot for a flat-bladed screwdriver. And that goes into the gauge port to seal up the gauge port and stop anything getting inside there, because there's a Schrader core inside there as well, and behind that Schrader core, if the cylinder is still full, there's 300 bar. So we finish this off having screwed it in by hand until that's tight and not going to shake loose. And we've just made sure that this is safe and this is safe. That's the gauge port at the back and the actuator port at the front. And the last part of the valve preparation is we remove the flexible hose. And the reason we leave this on until last, and we don't do this first, is because if the cylinder suddenly discharges for some reason, if this hose is connected, this will be connected to the manifold. It will discharge the gas pressure out to the nozzles and not into your immediate vicinity, so it's a lot safer doing it this way. We then remove this hose. Obviously you'll need a shifter or the right size spanner to get that off. I'll make it a little bit easier like this. These are normally bent up like this, so they can be quite difficult to get off. Be careful as you get to the end, and then just pull it out the way. Now we have an open end. And we need the outlet port plug, which looks like this. It's the bigger port plug of all of them. This goes over the end. You may notice that there's a small hole here. That is so that if the cylinder discharges in transit, the reactive force is coming out of this small hole here, so the cylinder doesn't blow itself over, cause a bigger problem by snapping the neck off the valve. So once that is on, the valve is now completely prepped. We have the outlet covered, we have the actuation port covered, we have the pressure gauge port covered as well. And now we're ready to install the transit cap over the top. Now you'll note that this doesn't fit at the minute because this clip is in the way, so you may need to just push that clip in a little bit further. This will then slip over the top, down onto the neck of the cylinder. Screw that down all the way. These only need to be hand tight. Please don't tighten them off by putting anything through there to tighten them off, because we need to get that off when it comes back to us for refurbishment or refilling or whatever. And that is it. That's now safe for transit.